Okay, so let's just take the clamps off and see how we went.
It looks like a success.
So that's just a quick
Full contact.
declamping. So as you can see now, we've the back has been glued. The braces are in place on the back, so we're almost ready to glue the back on. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to scrape off some of this old glue. You see those kind of lumpy glue? It's all kind of very brittle and old.
Beautiful 60s vintage resin.
That's right. This is animal glue. This is not a violin. This is a guitar. So there's very little chance that we'll ever want to pull it apart again in the future. So I'm just going to use PVA glue. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape off as much of this as possible. I'm going to clean it out and then going to run a bit of fresh glue. I'm not going to take the top off, but I'm just going to run a bit of fresh glue inside all the cracks and crevices before I put the back panel back on.
Yeah, please don't use flesh glue.
That's what we have here.
Yeah,
that's what they used back then.
Yeah.
You can see that.
So here I'm also just using a wire brush, just to freshen up the surface a little bit. I mean, it is pretty dry and fresh as it is. But just run it around and then just get the dust out. Give it a bit of a tap.
Nice and clean.
Nice and clean. So then just with the, hang on, I missed a little bit in here. There's also, if you look here, there's a little, can you see the movement there?
Yeah. So we've got the neck piece is just
so I've got to make sure
separated.
Run a nice gloop of glue under there.
Yeah, clamp that
and
on.
then I'll put a bit of weight on that to clamp that together.
Good.
So basically all we'll do now then is I'll just run some glue, if you can get in there, along wherever there's a edge and a crack and a bit in the bob. And again we'll let that suck in. I'm going to wipe off the excess after, but the main thing is to let it absorb into the timber and into the crack, because there could be a microscopic crack that'll eventually open up.
That's right. May as well cover all your.
Well, I don't want to pull it apart
all
again.
your tracks. Just do a complete fix up instead of just addressing the issues that we've found.
Yeah, but prevention.
Yeah, prevention. That's what I'm looking for.
That's the word. English.
And we found English. I'm still learning. We found out it was most likely maple.
Yes.
Doing a bit more research on this model.
Yeah, and again, it's only what you can read online.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about using too much with wood glue.
No, just wipe it off afterwards with a wet rag. Just take off the excess. But I like to let it sit for a bit and suck in, because this timber is very thirsty. It's just going to keep absorbing the glue, and that's kind of what we want. You know, you want it to just kind of absorb into the timber and stabilize anything.
Would it be worth giving the timber some kind of oil, like a timber oil, like a linseed oil or something to?
I will definitely give it a coat of wax. On the outside.
Yes.
I'm not the inside. I've never seen anybody do that. And sorry,
that was a terrible position.
That's all right. I've never really seen anybody. I think it could start messing with the sound. Actually, I'm fairly confident it would. So I don't think applying a varnish, or if it would have been
If it was raw, maybe.
well, the inside is raw.
Yeah, well, the outside.
I'm sure if it was benefits in having a varnish or a sealer on the inside, then top quality guitars would have that, and they don't. So I'll just make the assumption that it either does nothing or it's detrimental. So here's the crack that's a little bit open. So I'm going to put a fair bit of goop on there,
And
and
a
I'm
few
going
clamps on that one,
to pump
maybe?
it, hold it up and pump it a little bit. I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of movement in there, but it's nothing that can't be
Oh yeah, that's
remedied.
That's fine. That's just part of, because this is where the neck attaches. So this is the wiggle point, so to speak.
The heel, I suppose.
Yeah.
The heel.
So there's
Sort of
also
the heel.
there's also a little opening here. I'm gonna glue that from the outside. Force the glue in there. A bit from the inside here. I'm gonna just let that sit and drink for a bit. We'll wipe off the excess. Okay, stop.
Very good. A bit of tape there. Might need a little more than just a bit of tape to hold that.
Well, no, for that little crack, the tape is all right. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that this.
The heel. What would you call it? The inside of the heel, the inner heel, because
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yeah. Look, I'm not the exact name. I don't know.
no. Call it luthier.
Bob. There. So you can see now by putting a bit of pressure on there, the glue is just bleeding
Yep.
out a little bit. So that looks good. I'm just going to leave that now. Just let that set. That looks good there. The glue is in all the cracks and crevices. Gives them a nice chance to drink up all that.
Drink it up.
So if you like these little workshop videos, then click on the subscribe button and also click on the little bell next to it. That way you'll get the updates as we add new videos. Cheers.